So raise your hand if you have had a concussion or you know someone that has had a concussion. Okay. So just in this room, you can see how common it is, and that's just in one small part. So concussions have been a major topic in the National Football League, but I want to bring up the sport of soccer when it comes to concussions. My little brother Josh now has 6 permanent lesions on his brain thanks to heading the ball in soccer and passing the concussion test on the field. So why is it that so many concussions go unreported and these players continue to get hurt? Okay. So dealing with this firsthand with my little brother and having a mom that's now working with doctors in Newton to help with the awareness of the concussions, I've decided to tell you this information because you could either be the one with the concussion or you could help spread awareness about this problem. So the people in charge of recognizing the signs and symptoms of my brother's concussion were unsuccessful, and it cost him the game he loves for his senior year. He couldn't play. So although it's important to talk about concussion risks and signs and symptoms in other sports, I specifically want to talk about soccer today, especially since Heston has a guys and girls team here, and some of the players are even in this room. So today, I would like to talk about what concussions are, how concussions in soccer can lead to brain damage if not caught, and the signs and symptoms that one can look for when dealing with someone who potentially has a concussion. First off, the CDC states the definition of a concussion as follows: a type of traumatic brain injury caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head, or by a hit to the body that causes the head to move rapidly back and forth. And this can cause bouncing or twisting in the skull, and that will break the neurons so your brain can't get messages to the rest of your body. According to NPR.org, soccer players may head a ball up to 125 times in just 2 weeks, and those players that head the ball that much are 3 times more likely to obtain damage than those who limit the amount of headers that they do. So moving on to the second point, concussions in soccer are very likely to occur from either heading a ball or collision, so it's important to catch it so it doesn't lead to more severe brain damage. According to Michael Lipton, a professor of radiology and psychiatry and behavioral sciences at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, smaller, more frequent impacts, including heading a soccer ball, may get overlooked compared to forceful collisions. And even though they go undetected, they still pose a major threat to the brain's health. And to minimize the risk of repeated low impacts from heading the soccer ball, organizations have now limited the amount that people can head the ball and the age that they can start heading a ball in a game. And they have completely deleted it, like tried to get rid of it during practice so that they're not getting the brain damage. Finally, I believe it's extremely important to catch the signs and symptoms early to know exactly what to look for. There are professionals that are supposed to know what to look for, but if you're at practice, most of the time, a professional is not out there. So in an ESPN article based on information from the CDC, or Center for Disease Control, Dr. Cynthia Labella, a sports medicine specialist, says learning proper techniques, including tensing neck muscles, could help children avoid injury while heading a ball. So signs to recognize looking at a player that could have potential brain damage or a concussion. They're not able to recall events like prior to the event and after the collision or whatever happened. They appear to be dazed or stunned. They forget instructions, and if you ask them like the score of the game, they might not know or know what their position is or anything. They move clumsily. They could have even lost consciousness, and they could show mood changes. And then symptoms to recognize would be the player complaining of a headache, nausea, vomiting. They are dizzy, bothered by lighter noise, feeling sluggish, having confusion, and just not feeling right. So the CDC sponsors an organization called Heads Up, and it's a site to help parents, young sports coaches, healthcare professionals, and etc. to recognize, respond, and minimize the risk of consciousness, concussions, and other serious traumatic brain injuries. And then that's what that bottom picture is the heads-up concussion. And then Concussion Legacy Foundation is working with the U.S. soccer team to spread awareness to study through personal stories, national initiatives, community programs, and donations of brains, which I know sounds weird, but that includes Brandy Chastain, who is a women's soccer icon from 1999 World Cup, and she is donating her brain so that they can look at how it has affected her being a soccer player and how that affects the brain. So, in conclusion, if you look online and you want to help, there are plenty of resources that you could look for to spread the word about concussions and protect the players and to help protect the players' brains. You now know exactly what a concussion is, what can happen if a concussion goes unreported, and how you can spread the word and recognize signs and symptoms of concussion. And I want to leave you with a quote from Bennett Omalu, who his research was used for the making of the 2015 movie Concussion, and that has like Will Smith in it. I would really recommend you watching it because it's really good. But he said, "We are members of one another. What binds us together is far greater than what separates us. Because of our interconnectivity, what happens to the least of us happens to all of us. Whatever you do for the least of us, you do for all of us."